Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. The four beauties are often mentioned in Chinese history, including Diaochan, Yang Guifei, Wang Zhaojun, and Shi Shi. Numerous anecdotes and legends surround their lives. Apart from these four, another beauty frequently referenced by later generations is Zhao Fian. Renowned for her peerless beauty and skill in singing and dancing, she was the exclusive consort of Emperor Cheng of Han for 20 years. There is an idiom in Chinese history, Huan Fei Yan Shou, literally, Huan's plumpness and Yan's slenderness, which describes how beauty comes in different forms. In this phrase, Yan refers to Zhao Fian, while Huan represents Yang Guifei. Given Zhao Fian's beauty, which rivaled that of Yang Guifei, why was she not included among the four beauties? Zhao Fian, a celebrated figure in Chinese history, lived during the Western Han dynasty. She was the second empress of Emperor Cheng of Han and served as Empress Dowager during Emperor Ai's reign. Zhao Fian was known for her light, graceful physique and was said to be so delicate that she could perform a palm dance on someone's hand. She remains one of the most legendary and mythical beauties in Chinese folklore. Born into a humble family, Zhao Fian's father, Zhao Lin, was a government servant. She was abandoned at birth but survived for 3 days, prompting her family to take her back and raise her. She grew into an astonishingly beautiful woman and became a courtesan in the household of Princess Yang, where she trained in singing and dancing. Her light and graceful dancing earned her the name Fian, flying swallow. In addition to her appearance, Zhao Fian was exceptionally skilled in dance and music, which added to her allure. This made her highly favored by Emperor Cheng of Han, who is said to have doted on her for 2 decades, a rarity in history. Emperor Cheng often ventured out in disguise for leisure. On one such occasion, he visited the residence of Princess Yang, where he was captivated by Zhao Fian's cold yet seductive beauty and mesmerizing dance. Deeply enchanted, he brought her into the palace and showered her with affection. Later, Emperor Cheng heard about her younger sister, Zhao Hede, who was said to be even more beautiful and tender. Zhao Fian herself admitted that Zhao Hede's beauty surpassed her own. Consequently, the emperor summoned Zhao Hede to the palace. The two sisters, both elevated to the rank of Jiaqing, Imperial concubine, enjoyed unparalleled favor in the harem. Zhao Fian was later named Empress. Zhao Fian's dancing abilities were steeped in legend. According to Zhao Fian Biezhuan, she had a slender waist and an unmatched ability to glide gracefully, her movements as delicate as trembling flower petals. She even created a unique dance style called Jubu, characterized by fluttering hand movements and light steps, resembling a soft breeze. It was said she could control her breathing so skillfully that she could perform a sleeve dance while standing on someone's palm, giving the impression of a flying swallow. In addition to dancing, Zhao Fian was also skilled in playing the zither. According to the Western Capital Miscellanies, she owned a famous zither called the Phoenix Treasure Zither. After hearing a court musician play the piece, the Double Phoenix Lament, Zhao Fian was so moved that she played her own composition, the Returning Wind Serenade, on her zither. She also gifted 2 valuable zither, Autumn's Whisper in the Rain and White Crane, to the musician. However, Zhao Fian's seemingly perfect image was marred by a significant flaw, her cruel personality. This major shortcoming led to her receiving largely negative evaluations in historical records. It is said that Zhao Fian, after entering the palace, schemed against Empress Su and numerous palace maids to secure her position as empress. She even introduced her sister Zhao Hede to serve Emperor Cheng, ensuring the sisters monopolized his favor. They were highly vigilant against other women in the harem, allegedly going as far as to order the forced termination of pregnancies among palace women. Though the historical accuracy of these claims is debated, it is notable that after the Zhao sisters entered the palace, no other women in the harem were recorded as giving birth, a coincidence that remains difficult to explain. Beyond this, another alleged atrocity was her involvement in the death of Emperor Cheng's sons and plotting against the imperial lineage. Known as one of China's infamous femme fatale, she was denounced in The Book of Han by Ban Gu, who wrote that Zhao clan sowed chaos in the palace. Rumors also circulated that the Zhao sisters engaged in affairs with courtiers and palace servants, further tarnishing their reputation. Because of her vilification, Zhao Fian was ultimately excluded from the ranks of the Four Beauties. Archaeological findings suggest that during the Southern Song dynasty, the recognized Four Beauties were Wang Zhaojun, Zhao Fian, Ban Zhao, and Lu Zhu. Despite her tainted legacy, Zhao Fian was undeniably a remarkable dancer and artist. She could have been celebrated as one of the Four Beauties, but her posthumous reputation sealed her exclusion from this honored group. Historical records state that Emperor Cheng of Han, Liu Ao, met his demise due to Zhao Fian and her younger sister, Zhao Heda. Even more scandalous is the reason for his death. He reportedly died in bed after indulging excessively with Zhao Heda. This infamous event cemented the sisters as symbols of femme fatale in Chinese history. In truth, even without the Zhao sisters, Emperor Cheng was far from a capable ruler. Known as a negative example in history, his debauchery and negligence contributed to the gradual decline of the mighty Han dynasty. As a child, Liu Ao's path to the throne was fraught with challenges and nearly derailed entirely. It is well known that Empress Wang Zhengjun, Liu Ao's mother, is considered one of the reasons for the eventual fall of the Western Han. However, her early days in the palace were far from smooth. Before ascending to the throne, Emperor Yuan of Han lost a beloved concubine. On her deathbed, she accused others of conspiring against her, leaving Emperor Yuan resentful toward his other concubines. This bitterness extended to Wang Zhengjun, who never gained his favor and lived in neglect for years. Despite this, Wang Zhengjun secured her position by giving birth to Emperor Yuan's first son, Liu Ao. Her son's birth elevated her status, though she remained out of favor with the emperor. Liu Ao, too, suffered from his father's indifference. Emperor Yuan favored his second son, Liu Kang, and even considered making him heir. Liu Ao's prospects seemed bleak. However, Liu Ao had a key ally, his grandfather, Emperor Xian of Han. As Emperor Xian's eldest grandson, Liu Ao was lively and clever, traits that endeared him to his grandfather. In fact, it was Emperor Xian who personally named him Liu Ao. Emperor Xian's affection was evident, as he often kept Liu Ao by his side, nurturing and playing with him. Observers noted Emperor Xian's hope that his grandson would one day inherit the throne. This sentiment was not lost on Liu Ao's father, Crown Prince Yuan, who felt pressured to name Liu Ao as his successor despite his preference for Liu Kang. Thus, out of filial duty, Emperor Yuan formally designated Liu Ao as heir, even though his personal feelings lay elsewhere. While court factions openly and covertly vied for Liu Ao's succession, no one paid attention to his emotional and psychological development. This neglect would later manifest in his indulgent behavior and political failures. Under Emperor Xian's doting care, Liu Ao grew up smoothly and was exposed to classical texts and court etiquette. However, his personality remained fragile and playful, with a marked inclination toward leisure. This disposition was clearly shaped by his family environment. Lacking his father's affection, Liu Ao yearned for paternal love. At the same time, his mother, Wang Zhengjun, was despondent over her husband's neglect and unable to provide Liu Ao with adequate maternal care. In such an emotionally barren environment, Liu Ao's mental state gradually deteriorated, leading to a twisted personality. As he grew older, his craving for pleasure intensified, and he became increasingly addicted to wine and women. After Emperor Yuan of Han ascended the throne, he appointed Liu Ao as crown prince. However, due to his lack of affection for him, the emperor often considered replacing him. Only through the persistent persuasion of court officials did Liu Ao manage to retain his position as crown prince. After over a decade of living cautiously, Emperor Yuan passed away in the first year of the Jinging era. Liu Ao, as the crown prince, naturally inherited the throne and began to pursue his desires without restraint. At the beginning of his reign, Liu Ao took part in certain governmental affairs. However, as time passed, the tediousness of state matters led him to grow weary. Gradually, he succumbed to a life of extravagance and indulgence. The state of his harem exemplified his debauchery. Initially, Liu Ao was deeply fond of Empress Su, who bore him a son and a daughter. Unfortunately, both children died young. As Empress Su's beauty began to fade with time, she quickly lost his favor. Liu Ao then became infatuated with Ban Jiayu, a woman of remarkable talent and virtue. Despite her commendable character, Ban Jiayu failed to inspire any lasting sense of responsibility in him. Once the novelty wore off, Liu Ao again grew disinterested. It was at this point that the arrival of the Zhao sisters, Zhao Fian and Zhao Hede, completely captivated Liu Ao. They brought him unparalleled pleasure and drove his indulgence to its peak. From that moment on, the Zhao sisters worked together to ensnare Emperor Cheng of Han in their charm, keeping him firmly under their control. Liu Ao even described Zhao Hede's embrace as a haven of tenderness, refusing to leave her side and almost entirely obeying her will. Liu Ao's adoration for the Zhao sisters was evident not only in his affection but also in the luxurious treatment he lavished upon them. He had a palace specially constructed for them and showered them with priceless treasures, often at the expense of neglecting his other consorts. In a shocking move, influenced by the Zhao sisters' slander, Liu Ao deposed Empress Su and installed Zhao Fian as the new empress. Despite opposition from the Empress Dowager and court officials, Liu Ao succeeded in elevating the Zhao sisters to unprecedented prominence. However, his favoritism toward them sowed the seeds of disaster. Though the Zhao sisters enjoyed his favor, neither bore him any children. Watching other consorts give birth to princes filled them with jealousy. To maintain their power, the sisters began secretly plotting against concubines who might produce heirs. They even resorted to malicious actions to harm the emperor's children, leaving Liu Ao childless and isolated. These misdeeds foreshadowed their eventual downfall. As time went on, the Zhao sisters' youthful beauty faded, and the ever-capricious Liu Ao began seeking new romantic interests, distancing himself from them. This shift left the sisters anxious. Aware of their lack of support, they understood that once they lost the emperor's favor, they would face retribution. Consequently, they clung desperately to Liu Ao, refusing to let him go. By this time, Liu Ao was only 45 years old, but years of indulgence in wine and women had left him physically frail and emotionally hollow. Then, on a morning, after spending the night in Zhao Hede's company, Liu Ao unexpectedly suffered a stroke and died by her side. Following Emperor Cheng's death, Zhao Hede committed suicide out of fear of punishment. The sole surviving Zhao sister, Zhao Fian, briefly became Empress Dowager but could not secure a peaceful life. After Wang Mang seized power, she was deposed and ultimately took her own life. The unparalleled beauty and immense power of the Zhao sisters, Zhao Fian and Zhao Hede, plunged Emperor Cheng of Han's harem into chaos. These stunning women were not only rivals for favor but also embroiled in tragic events surrounding the imperial lineage, fueling fierce struggles and violent schemes within the palace. Amid this turmoil, Empress Dowager Wang Zhengjun remained remarkably composed, ultimately emerging as the true victor. Wang Zhengjun's influence is impossible to overlook in Han Dynasty history. She became empress at the age of 23, ascended to the position of Empress Dowager by 38, and eventually served as Grand Empress Dowager Wenmu for 4 years during Wang Mang's reign. Her 61-year domination of the imperial court made her one of the longest-lived and most politically enduring empresses in Chinese history. Although she began as an ordinary princess from a regional kingdom, Wang Zhengjun used her intelligence and her family support to rise to the pinnacle of power. Throughout her ascent, she strategically placed her relatives in key positions within the court, gradually building the formidable Wang clan. Her blatant misuse of power and the cultivation of private alliances made her the most prominent example of a powerful, external relative in Han Dynasty history. While Wang Zhengjuan's initial motivation might have been securing benefits for herself and her family, her shrewd political maneuvers turned her into a true colossus of power. Under her control, officials within the court became mere pawns for her manipulation, and even the emperor often had to consider her preferences. This seemingly limitless authority heightened her ambitions. Initially driven by family interests, her goals eventually evolved into an insatiable desire for power itself. The complex relationship between Wang Zhengjun and her son, Emperor Cheng of Han, reflects her cunning as a power broker. From the moment he ascended the throne, the cautious Emperor Cheng tread carefully to maintain a delicate balance with his mother, the Empress Dowager. On the one hand, Emperor Cheng was determined to preserve his imperial authority and resist becoming a puppet of the Wang clan. On the other, he was acutely aware of his mother's reputation as a masterful political tactician and had to remain vigilant. This resulted in a subtle dynamic between them. Emperor Cheng focused on the affairs of the harem, while Wang Zhengjun exercised control over state governance. Outwardly, their domains appeared separate and harmonious, but beneath the surface, a covert struggle for power simmered. During this period, Emperor Cheng's shortcomings became increasingly evident. As a weak and indulgent ruler, he devoted himself to pleasures of the flesh and neglected state affairs. Faced with the politically astute Wang Zhengjun, he lacked both the intelligence and courage to challenge her dominance. Over time, under the growing influence of the Wang clan, he effectively became a puppet emperor. Wang Zhengjun, however, acted with remarkable caution. She understood that openly seizing power and sidelining the emperor entirely would provoke greater opposition and chaos. Instead, she adopted a subtler approach, achieving her goals by manipulating Emperor Cheng from behind the scenes. As for the affairs of the harem, she allowed Emperor Cheng to handle them as long as they posed no direct threat to her or her family. This strategy not only solidified her position but also helped her avoid unnecessary conflicts. Some historians describe Wang Zhengjuan's court strategy as a classic example of advancing by retreating. She skillfully leveraged the weaknesses of Emperor Cheng of Han, a feeble and ineffectual ruler, to solidify her own power while avoiding direct conflicts. This cautious and calculated approach left a distinct and enduring mark in history. However, this does not imply that Wang Zhengjun was content with the existing power structure. Her continual expansion of her family's influence clearly demonstrated her greater ambitions. She understood that merely maintaining a balance of power with Emperor Cheng would not achieve her ultimate goals. Thus, in critical moments, she did not hesitate to employ more assertive measures. In contrast to Wang Zhengjuan's behind-the-scenes maneuvers, the Zhao sisters, Zhao Fian and Zhao Heda, dazzled the court with their brilliance. As Emperor Cheng's most beloved consorts, they quickly became the center of attention, reigning as the undisputed stars of the harem. Yet beneath their glamorous facade lay a far more intricate struggle for power. With the combination of favor and influence, the Zhao sisters rose to unparalleled heights. Not only did they secure prominent positions in the harem, but their presence also subtly extended into the realm of state politics. By the latter part of Emperor Cheng's reign, the Zhao sisters had become key figures who wielded significant sway over political affairs. Their formidable status inevitably provoked discontent among other external factions. Chief among these was the Wang clan, orchestrated by Wang Zhengjun. Under her influence, officials frequently submitted memorials criticizing the Zhao sisters, accusing them of ruining the nation, harming the people, and obstructing the succession of the imperial heir. Although these attacks failed to unseat the sisters, they cast a lingering shadow over their lives. Under this constant pressure, their eventual fates grew increasingly bleak. Zhao Fian was demoted to Empress Jiaqing during Emperor Ai's reign, while Zhao Heda ultimately took her own life in Emperor Cheng's chambers. Objectively speaking, historical records from that time contain little credible evidence of the Zhao sisters causing chaos in the harem or obstructing the imperial lineage. Many of the dramatic accounts originated from later novels and folklore. While the sisters may have committed some unforgivable acts, it is equally possible that these were mere baseless rumors. This distortion and exaggeration of history eventually shaped the sensationalized image of the seductive femme fatale associated with them. The reasons behind this are twofold: the tendency of later scholars to embellish history, and the universal human obsession with the allure of power. The femme fatale narrative undeniably captures the imagination and attention of the masses. Consequently, it has been perpetuated and amplified over time, becoming the defining image of the Zhao sisters in history. However, judging by their experiences, the Zhao sisters appear to have been unwilling participants in a much larger power struggle. As women of humble origins who suddenly gained immense power and status, it was natural for them to become targets of jealousy and suspicion from rival factions. For shrewd politicians like Wang Zhengjun, such an opportunity to consolidate her authority was not to be missed. Ultimately, the Zhao sisters' tragic fate was likely an inevitable consequence of this ruthless contest for power. This is History and Culture Channel. Like and subscribe are the biggest help and support for us. Thank you everyone. See you next time.